Have you ever looked at your parents as if they were not your parents? As a kid, we tend to have these normal perceptions towards our parents, like how perfect dad and mom are supposed to be, like dad should be strong, while mom should be all about loving, how they should love and take care of us, or how they should love each other, and so on. I try to think where such perceptions come from. Maybe they're from media like TV drama, or maybe they're from our own feeling because of that blood bond between us and our parents. Or maybe they're from those essays that we had been assigned to write every Father's and Mother's Day, like Love of the Mother or Dad, my superhero, for example. I'm not sure if these are the causes, but when I was young, what I was sure about was that Dad and Mom loved their kids very much, and that family was all about being together. So as a kid, it could be quite difficult to handle when things turn out to be different from the normality we believe we can expect. It's like the world can fall apart when we know that dad and mom don't love each other anymore. What's worse is that they might not seem to love us as much as they do in our perceptions. I'm from a divorced family, so fights, arguments, celebrating things were what I grew up with. My childhood, for me back then, was a nightmare that I wish I could wake up and never go back to sleep again. If you ask me what's still vivid in my memories when it comes to the family, there are two situations I never forget. The first one happened during the night, 19 years ago, in the bedroom. My dad was holding a knife close to my mom's neck, asking if she wanted to die. And she said, "Yes, kill me." And I was forced, standing against the wall, crying and shouting, "Dad, don't kill Mom." My parents fought until they broke up. And that's another one. My mom just left without saying goodbye. She just took all of her stuff and drove away. I was 9 years old, very confused with the situation. My dad asked me where she went, but I had no clue. At that moment, I only knew that we needed to find Mom. So I biked around our neighborhood looking for the car that Mom took. It was the red one that had my nickname on the back mirror. It was a sticker, but I never found it. So there were 3 of us left in the family. My dad, sobbing on the couch for weeks. My brother, who was 3, didn't know anything, and me. My brother and I have lived with my dad since then. In the first couple years, we were not allowed to contact Mom because Dad was still very angry with her. During those years, I grew up hearing people gossiping that my mom cheated on my dad and left her kids to live with another guy. And you know what? It's true. So every adult I knew would look at me with a sorry on their face and say something like, "Your mom is really bad." Or, "Even dogs will not leave their babies." So apparently, people judged my mom, and so did I. But I judged both of them though. I blamed my dad for being hot-tempered, making me feel insecure, and I was sure that it was one of the reasons why Mom left. I blamed my mom for abandoning me and my brother, making Mother's Day the worst day of the year every year. Growing up with parents fighting was bad, but living in a family without Mom was heartbreaking. I asked myself many times why this had to happen to me. Why couldn't we just be a happy family just like others? Did Mom really love me or not? Or she loved herself more? Lots of questions, and I couldn't find the answers. I felt like I was an object, shaped and impacted by every decision my parents made. It was like I was hurt by things I could not control at all. My personality, my perspective towards the world, or even the whole me could be influenced by mistakes that my parents unintentionally made. And that was the worst feeling ever. Not until these past 2 years that I have this idea in my head. It was strange to think of it this way at first, but later on, it becomes to make more sense. It helps me get over the unhappy me by changing the normal perceptions that I had towards my parents. I look at them as if they were not my parents. Do you know what I see? I see a couple, well, used to be now. I see a girl who got married when she was 16, so young and madly in love with this 35-year-old guy who she thought she would spend the rest of her life with. So in the family, he was the only one who worked as it was his priority in life. So she was at home taking care of her kids. And then time went by. She, in her 20s, realized that she had dreams too, and that she wanted to do lots of things on her own because life for her back then wasn't about being a wife or staying at home anymore. He didn't understand why she was different, so they started fighting for years. Marriage life didn't go the way it was dreamed of. She met another guy who entered her life when she needed someone the most, and she fell in love again. Only this time, following her heart meant being judged as a bad mother. But she chose to follow it. She left her kids because she believed that they would be better off that way, as at that moment she didn't know what to do with her life either. He was heartbroken. This wasn't the first time that he was cheated on. His first wife did the same to him, and he didn't understand what went wrong because all he did was just working for the family. He felt lost and pressured because he had to raise 2 kids on his own. Just too many things to handle, especially the sadness. So this entire thing was very painful for him. In fact, it was painful for everyone. So that's what I see. The guy and the lady in there, they're my parents. Looking at them this way makes me realize that my parents, they're human. They're not perfect. They can get confused, they can be selfish, they can fall in love, they can make mistakes, and they have dreams too, just like you, me, and everybody else. When you really think of this way of thinking, it's actually very simple. We try to understand others so that we treat them right without judging them. But when it's our parents whom we have to understand, it's hard because we are too close and our feelings are too deep. But it's possible and it's helpful because when you think this way, you simply take yourself out of the situation and look back at it with different perspective, less emotional and personal, but more rational. And now, in our heart, we have room for them to be great. We have room for them to be themselves. We have room for them to be human, not to be only what we perceived. By humanizing my parents, I've got a new me who doesn't want to change the past anymore, a new me who stops asking those questions. The most important thing is that I stopped blaming my parents for what they did because it's useless. It doesn't free me from blocking myself in the negativity, but understanding them does. It's not the past and the people in it that sadden us. It's what's in our head. The story that I have just shared with you is a sad story. It has always been a sad story to me. But I understand that sadness and know how to deal with it now. And that's what matters. People say that kids from divorced family will somehow have problems in their life. And that's right. Because sorrow tends to stick with us better than sweet memories. Bad childhood can impact us so much, especially if we don't know how to deal with it. Of course, I'm affected in many aspects by those terrible childhood experiences, but it's my job now to move on. And yes, I could not control life when I was young, but I am now in charge of making every decision for myself. I've realized that I have choices, and I choose to be okay. I found my solution. The secret is that I never shared this idea with my parents because this solution is for me as a daughter. And I believe that they need different solutions that must be found on their own as well. Maybe life is just like this. We just need to find our own way to deal with sorrow in order to move on. My dad, he's now very settled. He has become such a very calm guy and has changed a lot, but still working hard every day, as I said, is his priority in life. My mom broke up with her husband for a couple years now, and she's still wandering, still seeking life that she wants to live, just like what some people are doing, including me. Every year, when it's her birthday, I always write her the same message on Facebook, telling her to follow her dreams or to do whatever makes her happy. And I deeply wish that she would not regret the decision she made 14 years ago, because I don't regret it. I love my parents, and I know that they love me too. It just doesn't have to be the same way as it appears on the TV or what society thinks it should be. And with the feeling freed from humanizing them, I think I love them better. Thank you.